As we all know, Louisiana faces many threats, with one of the more recent being the apple snail, Pomacia maculata, an invasive species. The snail spends most of its time in the water unless it's laying its bright pink egg clutches. The snail has an incredible appetite for aquatic plants, and this appetite threatens the ecology of our waterways. This appetite also threatens to reverse critical estuary restoration efforts, should the snail be able to expand its range far enough south. However, the further south you go, the higher the salinity. Therefore, we sought to determine the snail's salinity tolerance in order to develop a predictor of the snail's possible range. So we picked our sites based off of being above or below the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway, the GIWW, which you can see as this dashed yellow line. Now the GIWW cuts Louisiana into two, with above being more freshwater and below having a salinity influence from the Gulf. So we collected our clutches and we hatched them and separated them into two parallel experiments. One with a 0 part control, which was mimicking this above area, and a 5 part per thousand control mimicking below. Every 3 days, we would increase the salinity by 5 parts per thousand and take a number of the snails that survived. Our results can be shown here in these two graphs, and these are showing the number of live snails that we would record. So what we can see here are some X's and Y's, and that's denoting a significant difference between the snails hatched above and below the GIWW in terms of survival. So what we see here is that snails from above the GIWW, sites A and B, are more tolerant to higher salinities when they are hatched into 0 parts per thousand. We see the opposite for below the GIWW, where the snails are more tolerant to higher salinities when hatched into 5 parts per thousand. Now, what this research also showed is that snails would not survive at 15 parts per thousand. However, they survived the full 3 days at 10 parts per thousand, showing that the snails have the potential to survive these brackish conditions. What this means is that we might expect the snails to expand their range further south into estuaries characterized by intermediate salinities. However, we would not expect the snails to extend into higher salinity areas, more than that 15 parts per thousand, such as areas right at the coast or at barrier island habitats. Thank you.